Some robot vacuums are more hassle than they're worth. Constantly having to empty them or constantly having to rescue them as they get stuck around your home. Looking to change all that is the Lydsto R1 robot vacuum, which we are reviewing today. Some important things to note about this robot vacuum. The first one is its smart navigation. In the early days, robot vacuums used to just bump their way through your home, constantly going back over paths that they've previously gone over, which is quite inefficient. Nowadays, smart navigation is key, and it's either done using VSLAM or it's LiDAR. With VSLAM, it's a camera pitched at the top of the robot, which has a view of the ceiling, and it's able to work its way around the room and figure out where it is. With the Lydsto R1, it uses LiDAR. LiDAR is a laser radar navigation system and is essentially a radar that spins on the top of the device and is constantly working out where it is. I was surprised at how efficient this is at actually, number one, building out a map, and number two, not getting stuck. Having run through my entire house, the entire downstairs of my house, it only got stuck once, and that's when a face mask got chewed up into it. So it doesn't really get stuck. It's pretty efficient, that laser navigation. The second thing is it's self-emptying. A common complaint with robot vacuums is, number one, there's a loss of suction as the amount of debris builds in the robot itself. And the second thing is they need constant maintenance to be regularly emptied. The beauty of this device is that it has a docking station. So it works its way around your house, finishes its cleaning cycle, and then returns to its dock, where it essentially depressurizes all of the dust from the robot into the dock itself. Within the dock, you have a vacuum bag. So the system, the R1 comes with 6 vacuum bags. You should get about a month worth of dust collection in this, depends on how dusty your house is and how big it is. But that should last you about a month, and again, there's 6 of them there. So that's a huge benefit. You can let this run day in, day out. With smart navigation, it shouldn't get stuck, so you shouldn't need to rescue it. And with self-emptying, it should just be able to work. When it comes to suction power, the Lydsto R1 has 2,700 pascals of suction pressure. While not the highest in the market, that's well above average. And if you're looking for a quieter experience, there is a quiet mode that you can set, which lowers the suction power and lowers the volume as it wanders the house. Another important feature of this robot is that it's not just a vacuum, it's also a mop. It's perfect for tiles or hardwood floors. The system comes with 30 different disposable mop cloths, which can be attached to the base of the robot itself. And then within the app, there are 3 different settings for the mop, which dictates how much water is released by the robot as it works its way through the home. A key selling point of this robot is that it is competitively priced. For similar devices from iRobot or Samsung, you will be dropping a lot more money than this. You can pick this up on Amazon for under $400, for example. While Lydsto is a relatively new brand, it is connected with Xiaomi in China. You'll see that the robot looks very similar to the Roborock and others. In today's video, we're going to go through what you get out of the box. We're going to set up the app, set up the device, and then turn it on, watch it navigate its way through the home and build the map within the app. We'll then also carry out a couple of tests, one on its vacuuming capability and then another on its mopping capability. Finally, we'll go through a list of features in the app and then also go through some of the pros and cons of the device. Links to the product are in the description below. I'd like to point out that Lydsto provided a sample of this robot vacuum free of charge for the purposes of this review, but just to state that that doesn't impact the honesty of the review itself. I critically analysed this product and go through a list of pros and cons from it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up below, subscribe to our channel for more robot vacuum, smart home and home security content, or leave a comment below. Let's begin. So while unboxing this, the first thing that jumps to mind is that there's actually a bit of weight on this. It's about 28 pounds, around 11 kg. And I suppose the reason for that is you have the docking station as well as the robot itself. So as you can see, the docking station is a decent size. You'll need to find a place in your home for this, with a little bit of space left and right of it, as well as in front of it for the robot to dock. Accessories that come with the device So within the robot itself, you're going to have the main brush and the brush cover. There's a 2-in-1 water tank, which also holds the dust as it's collected, as well as the side brush. So you can see that there underneath the robot. Then some other accessories that come with it. You get a mop cloth support along with a reusable mop cloth, along with 30 different disposable mop cloths too. There are 6 dust bags. You get a cleaning knife for cleaning out the main brush, along with some instructions and a quick start guide. So for the app setup, it's a case of scan the QR code to get access to the App Store for Android or iOS. I have an Android device here, so it's a case of installing it, opening up the app and agreeing to whatever permissions are needed. And I suppose first with this is a case of creating an account, so selecting your country, entering your details, and confirming with your email account. So once you do that, then it's a case of adding the device. So power it up, and at this point you're connected to the mobile hotspot. So the robot itself creates a hotspot. You connect your phone to that hotspot, and that way then you can sync both devices, and the robot is now connected to your home Wi-Fi. This is obviously sped up, so this took a bit longer. Great, so now that it's connected, I set it on its path to discover my room, and as you can see, as it works its way around, this is the kitchen, it's constantly refining and building out that map, and it was working its way through a number of seats that are in my kitchen. So that's a good example of it, finding the boundaries and working its way through to map this out. The map that you saw there was increased speed by 10x, so obviously that took a lot longer. So the path it takes, it finds the boundaries, it builds out that, then it finds points on the map that it can't work through and it circles them, and then once it's worked out both the boundary and any obstacles, it then follows a set path throughout. As you can see here, it goes back and forth to cover all the ground. So again, this is by no means random, it's methodically working its way through the system. So this first area is now complete. It then discovers the second area, which is the hallway, and again it's quite a low profile, so it's working its way underneath the kitchen counter here and the stools. I think it's around 20 centimeters clearance, which is fine for here. It doesn't actually work its way under my sofa, which is just too low, so I've currently marked that off as a no-go zone on the app. So yeah, it's back to the app, into the hallway, working back and forth to finish it out. So as you can see there, it's taken 18 minutes to get to this point where it's mapped out 2 zones, and then it goes into the next zone to continue that mapping process. So on the first run throughout your home, it'll work through each area as long as it has enough battery charge, which it should, to work out everything. And then once it's complete, it works through back to the base to dock, and then the vacuuming starts from the dock to suck out all of the debris built up in that robot, which is quite loud. I think it's worth noting that the actual suction from the main dock it was surprisingly loud. You can set it in the app to happen every time, or once every second time, or once every third time, but that's just something to keep in mind. It only lasts 10 seconds anyway, so it might just give you a startle. Having a quick look here, so this is the 2-in-1 water tank, which also has the dust compartment. There's also a filter in there to prevent any pollen escaping as it's cleaning. That's a HEPA filter. It easily slots in. You don't need to have that mop support on the device. So if you don't want to engage in mopping, you can just pull that out and mopping is then disabled. A quick look at the brush. So you can see the main brush there and the brush cover. And again, you can use a cleaning knife for that to get rid of any hairs or anything like that. So then onto the tests. We ran 2 tests. The first one was with sugar and cornflakes on the ground just to see how it worked. There's 3 types of cleaning modes. This is the area cleaning mode, where we just dragged a rectangle around this area of our kitchen, and it again finds the boundary and then works its way methodically left and right to get through it all. Pretty much vacuumed up about 95% of what was there. Interestingly, the little spinner brush, it did kick out a couple of cornflakes, which then it kicked it out onto areas which were already covered. So it's not 100%. That being said, if you were covering the area twice in one day, it'll pick it up the next round. This is the mop test. So it's spinner and mop at the same time. And you can see now in the next pass, it does a nice job of actually cleaning up what was there. This was quite a large spillage, so I left a little bit of residue on the right hand side there, but generally speaking, happy with that result. You don't put any cleaning products into the tank. It's simply just water. So onto the features then. Once it finished the full run through of the mapping, it then designated rooms, which I found really nice, and color coded those rooms too. So a look at the types of cleaning. You have clean on the spot, so you can do it wherever it is. You have area cleaning, which is what I talked about around dragging a rectangle, adjusting the size, and then allowing it to work ahead to clean that. And then finally there's room cleaning, which it just runs through all of the rooms or however you have set that up. So then from a cleaning schedule perspective, you can set up a single or multiple schedules. You have days of the week, cleaning times. You can set the mode, so how much suction, how much water volume you want being released by the robot. And again, the suction mode impacts the volume as well, so keep that in mind. So that's how you create the schedules, and that's working quite well for me at the moment. You can remotely control it. If it's in the middle of the room, you can remote control it like a toy. You can set the voice and volume. It is a bit loud actually to start, so probably worth reducing that. There are different modes for secondary cleaning and edge cleaning, if those are modes you want to run through. There is a do not disturb mode, which might be good for if you're working at home throughout the day and you don't want it going into your room. You can share out the device. The dust emptying frequency I mentioned. If you want to reduce the amount of time that it's actually dropping all of the dust back at base. And then quite nice, it gives you an example of the types of how much time is left before you need to maintain some of the maintainable parts in it. You can set a name, get some device details, and make sure that the firmware is up to date, which is obviously important for something like this. And then if you lose it, click Find My Vac and you'll be able to find it. A lot of features. The map editing is quite nice. You've got your forbidden areas, which I set around the sofa. I also set a virtual wall on my downstairs bathroom because there's a step down, and at one stage it did get lost down there. So quite nice features here. This is way better than anything that you would have with kind of the more primitive robots. And from testing this works quite well. The robot doesn't go anywhere near these areas once you actually set them. So quite useful. You can see the map updating. You can edit the map itself, so you can see here room 5 and 7, that's actually all my kitchen, so you can merge different zones together, and you can set names for those zones. So I've worked through this. Again, the hallway is actually room 3 and 1 there, so just merge those two. It's possible to divide rooms as well if it just sees it all as one big room and you want to set zones. And the beauty of setting zones is you can have different cleaning modes per zone. So you might have an area where you want a really thorough clean and mopping, versus there might be an area that just needs a light clean. So once you set the zones and the rooms, you can then assign specific cleaning modes to those areas. So these are the custom modes. So 4 modes, and that dictates the pressure, the number of pascals of pressure per mode in suction, and then for mopping, how much water is released by the bot. And then this is essentially setting suction power and water volume per area, which is quite nice. So now you've seen how the robot works. here's my list of pros and cons. On the upsides, number one, it's an amazing price and very competitive. Number two, the LiDAR navigation and mapping, I was blown away by. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I have used robot vacuums in the past that have just bumped their way through the home, whereas this one, the path that it takes through the home is very impressive. And as a techie, I quite love it. The third thing is the self-emptying is completely hassle-free, and it's exactly what you want. You don't want to be constantly, maintaining the robot on a daily basis to empty it out. So that was a great addition. Fourth thing, it has big wheels. The thing is hefty, it's heavy enough, and there are big chunky wheels on it, which is good because it can get over cables that might be laying around the home. And yeah, it just makes it easier for it to navigate around objects. Another upside is that the product comes with a 2-year warranty and a 30-day returns period all through Amazon. So maybe some of the downsides. Number one, as of yet, there's no voice control. This is an Alexa household, and I would like to be able to use voice commands to initiate cleaning around the home. So that's not there yet, might come soon. Number two, the instructions aren't amazing. So it does come with an instruction booklet. There are typos in it. It definitely could do with some improvement. What some might see as a downside is the fact that Lydsto isn't really an established brand. I had never heard of it when I was initially contacted about the review. It is affiliated with Xiaomi in China, so there's that in the background and a full kind of manufacturing capacity within that. So I've no doubt over the quality of the product itself. It's just that the brand itself is quite new, the Lydsto brand. And from a consumer perspective, some consumers might like to have the weight of an iRobot or a Samsung when choosing a product, but then obviously you need to pay a little bit extra for those kind of more established brands. The fact that this is a newer brand, probably the competitive price aligns with that as well. Next one, mopping container. I love the fact that it's a mop because we have a lot of tiles and hardwood floors. Unlike the vacuum, which can kind of depressurize and suck everything from the robot into the dock, the mop basin does need to be regularly refilled. So I'll probably set it up in such a way that it maybe mops once a week, so as I don't have to constantly keep refilling that basin or that container. And then finally, the sample that we got was a white vacuum, which looks great. That being said, it gets dirty. I must have a very dirty home because it was, the face of it was dirty within the first 20 minutes. Yeah, you might want to go with a black one. It might hide the dirt a bit better. But yeah, otherwise it looks good. That's it. There are my pros and cons. Really enjoyed testing out this robot. Loved the LiDAR navigation and the algorithm upon which how it navigates through the home. Yeah, happy with it. Hope you enjoyed the video.